How are you, Bill?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Where are you today?
I am in Erie, Pennsylvania. We just completed installation of our exit lane at Erie International Airport. So I'm standing on the land side at right in front of our unit.
Tell our viewers, what does dormakaba do? Like, what do you specialize in?
So dormakaba is a very large company with many arms and many products. So we range from automatic sliding doors, automatic swing doors, revolving doors, to sensor barriers, full height turnstiles, doors, frames, hardware. And then on our side for airport, we have e-gate technology for self-boarding, for TSA use, for CBP use. And then we also have the exit lane technology for security going from airside to landside.
Okay, so tell me about the unit that you're standing in front of right now.
Yep. So what I'm standing in front of right now is our exit lane technology, our PILMO2, which is it secures the secure side from the unsecured side. So as if you're flying into a city, passengers are going on a baggage claim. Typically, they'll pass a TSA agent sitting there, or some security officer sitting there. And so our unit is installed to replace that person so that he can do other job duties, and still keeps the airport safe and secure because of the technology that we use for breach control, for objects being thrown into a lane or objects left behind.
And airports are definitely interested in figuring out how to deploy their employees to different places as the needs of airports change, especially right now, I'm sure. As you're showing an airport what this technology can do, how do you show them what the return on their investment might be?
Well, for the ROI, we typically use $150,000 a year, which some airports might be low, some airports might be a little bit high, but we think it's a good average. And it's dependent upon the number of lanes that the airports purchase. But if you look at that $150,000 estimate there, ROI for an airport is approximately 18 months. So it's a pretty good return on their investment, and it enables that person that they're taking out of that corridor and utilize them elsewhere.
Okay. How is this product configurable? Configurable. Did I say that right?
Configurable. Yes.
Configurable.
Yes.
You're in Erie, which is on the smaller end of the airport scale,
Correct.
right? But
Correct.
it could be used in all different sizes of airports. So how do you configure it for size?
Yeah, so every airport's different, depending upon the size, depending upon the number of passengers, depending upon their security needs and their safety needs. The units are configurable to wherever they fall on that safety security line. Some airports lean more towards security, some airports lean more towards safety, and so we are able to configure our lane and our sensors to however they want them, however they want the unit to operate for their needs. For instance, here in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is a very small airport, we have one lane installed. Their needs are completely different than what we're doing, say, in Fort Lauderdale, where you've got 4 different terminals, more lanes, more people, and their needs are different than here in Erie.
Right, that makes sense. How do you go about getting the stamp of approval from the TSA for an airport to use this in their facility?
So once we are installed, the local FSD over that airport will do their testing for it to be approved for unmanned solution. And that testing is combined with our sensors and our security measures within the lane but they also test the airport's response time to our alarms. So it's a combination joint effort between us and the airport to ensure that when the FSD comes to do his testing or her testing, that it's going to pass. So it's a coordinated effort between us and the airport.
Is there a typical length of time that it takes to go through that approval process?
Typically just a couple hours, depending upon the FSD. Yep.
Okay, that's pretty fast.
It is. It is.
So
What would make this worthwhile for an airport? Why would they invest in this kind of technology versus what they may have now?
Well, first of all, the technology is a 24/7 operation, 365 days a year. You don't have to worry about calling out sick. You don't have to worry about somebody not showing up for work. It's always going to be active. So it provides that sense of security for the airport to know that the technology is always on and it's always ready. It's always going to respond to whatever's happening inside the lane.
Yeah, I think of it as an extra layer, really, not replacing a TSA agent, but allowing them to have an extra level of, taking a look at what's around them, and so they can really have
Correct.
eyes on everything that's going on.
Correct.
Right now, with the pandemic and everything else that's going on in the world, how could this be adapted to help airports protect its staff and its community, especially as we ramp back up?
Sure. So we're looking at different options, different sensors that we can add to our lane. For instance, I've been reading where some airports are adding or will add temperature sensors for outgoing passengers. But what about incoming passengers into your city? So I'm looking at different sensors that I can add to my lane to where we could possibly detect the temperature of incoming passengers into their city. And then we're have to coordinate that with the airport as far as, okay, how do we tell them, what do we send to the airport to signal them, hey, this passenger has a 104 temperature. So we're in the beginning stages of looking at it, but it's definitely something that we could possibly add to the lane and just coordinate that with the airport and as far as how they want to use it.
So would an airport be able to actually measure the temperature of a passenger coming into the airport or coming into the city and identifying that person? Would it be working with camera technology as well?
It does. So I've been looking at multiple different sensors that we could possibly use, and a lot of those sensors are pinpointing people as they're walking. So we could pinpoint a passenger coming into the city and what their temperature is. But then, the coordination with the airport comes into play as far as what they want to do with that information. Makes
sense. It sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to finding out what's next for dormakaba.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, stay safe out there, Bill.
Well, thank you. Do the same.
Thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.